The envelope hit my kitchen table at 7:14 am on a Tuesday. Inside was a printed copy of my work schedule, my home address, a photo of me taken from outside my office window, one I had never seen before, one I never took. And on the back of that photo, in my mother's handwriting, that's her. She won't fight back. She had handed a stranger a roadmap to my life, and she smiled doing it. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, is that I had spent the last 11 months building something she would never see coming. Not a confrontation, not a breakdown, something far, far worse for her. A trap. And she had just walked straight into it. They thought I was the soft one, the one who always cried and forgave and showed up anyway. They thought I didn't have the spine to fight back. They were so wrong. Before I tell you how I burned it all down, drop a comment and tell me where in the world you're watching from. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because this story gets so much darker before it gets satisfying. Let's go. My name is Danielle. I'm 31 years old. I work in corporate compliance, and I grew up in a house where I was never the favorite and never pretended not to know it. My mother, Renata, had 2 daughters, me and my younger sister, Becca. If you know anything about golden child dynamics, you already know how this story starts. Becca got the bedroom with the window. Becca got the car at 16. Becca got the tuition paid in full. Becca got the tears and the apologies and the "you know how much I love you" phone calls at midnight. I got a part-time job at 14 and a lecture about independence. I'm not telling you this to get your sympathy. I'm telling you so you understand the soil this grew in. For years, most of my 20s, I kept a careful, polite distance from my mother. Not estrangement, not war, just managed exposure. Holiday dinners. Birthday texts, the kind of relationship where you keep the door cracked just enough to avoid the guilt, but not so wide that she can walk all the way in and rearrange the furniture. I thought that was working. I thought wrong. It started 8 months before the envelope. My grandmother, my father's mother, Nana Ruth, passed away. She was 83, sharp until the very end, and she loved me in the specific and particular way that grandmothers love the grandchild who actually calls. We talked every Sunday. I drove 3 hours to see her every other month. When she got sick, I took 2 weeks off work and sat in that hospital room and held her hand and watched the news with her, even though she fell asleep before the weather. She left me her house, not split between me and Becca, not divided among cousins. Mine. A paid-off 3-bedroom in a quiet suburb worth, at the time of her passing, just under $340,000. There was a will. It was notarized. It was iron. My mother lost her mind. Not because she had any legal claim to it. She didn't. Not because Nana Ruth owed her anything. She didn't. But because in Renata's world, anything good that happened to me was a resource, and resources were meant to be redirected toward Becca. Within 2 weeks of the funeral, she called me 4 times asking me to do the right thing and sign over half the property to my sister. Each call got louder. Each call got uglier. The 4th one ended with her telling me I was selfish, that I had manipulated a dying old woman, and that I didn't deserve what I'd been given. I hung up. I blocked her number for 30 days to let things cool. When I unblocked her, she acted like nothing had happened. Warm. Normal. Renata in her peacetime mode, cheerful, chatty, asking about my job. I should have known that meant she was already planning something. The envelope didn't arrive by mail. It was left on my doorstep. No postage. No return address, just a plain manila envelope with my first name written on the front in handwriting I didn't recognize. I almost didn't open it right away. Something in my stomach told me to sit down first. Good thing I did. Inside was a printed copy of my work schedule, the one posted on our internal company portal, which is not public. My home address. The photo taken from outside my office building, and a sticky note with a man's name, a phone number, and 3 words written underneath. She has everything. My first instinct was fear. My second instinct, the one that saved me, was to stay completely still and think. I had seen my mother hand that envelope to a man outside a coffee shop 6 days earlier. I had been driving past, caught a red light, watched it happen without understanding what I was seeing. She'd handed him something flat. He'd nodded. She'd squeezed his arm like they were old friends. I had filed it in the back of my mind as strange and kept driving. Now I understood exactly what I had witnessed. I didn't call the police first. I didn't call a friend. I called my attorney, a woman named Claire who had handled Nana Ruth's estate and who I had kept on retainer for exactly the kind of situation I had always hoped would never come. I told Claire everything. The envelope, the coffee shop, the man's name on the sticky note, the 3 words. She was quiet for exactly 4 seconds. Then she said, "Don't touch anything else in that envelope. I need you to photograph every single item where it sits, right now, before you move a single piece of paper." I did exactly that. What unfolded over the next 6 weeks was something my mother never saw coming, because she had fundamentally misunderstood what kind of woman I had become. Claire contacted a private investigator the same afternoon. Within 72 hours, we knew exactly who the man was. He was a real estate pressure consultant, a legal but deeply predatory profession, hired specifically to approach property owners and use escalating tactics to make them sell. Harassment dressed in a suit. My mother had apparently found him through a referral, paid him a deposit, and given him everything he needed to make my life uncomfortable enough that I'd want to offload the house. What she didn't know was that the moment he used that stolen internal work schedule, information he had no legal right to possess, he crossed a line that made every single thing that followed actionable. Claire filed a cease and desist within the week. We documented the origin of the stolen information and submitted a formal complaint to my company's HR and legal department. An internal investigation was opened. My mother's name came up. My mother's phone number came up. The timeline came up. Then Claire did the thing that ended it completely. She sent a single certified letter to my mother's address. No dramatic confrontation, no phone call, no warning. Just a letter delivered on a Wednesday morning outlining in precise legal language exactly what had been documented, exactly what my mother had facilitated, and exactly what civil liability she was now personally exposed to, including financial damages tied to the attempted interference with inherited property. My sister called me screaming that same afternoon. My mother had collapsed into full panic. She was calling lawyers. She was calling relatives. She was telling everyone I had attacked her, that I had set a trap, that I had always been vindictive and cold. I let her say every word of it, because here is what happened next. The real estate consultant, facing his own legal exposure, gave a full written account confirming my mother had hired and directed him. That document went into a file. That file sits with Claire to this day. My mother never got the house. Becca never got the house. The house is mine, rented out now to a young family, generating income every single month. A quiet and permanent monument to the fact that Nana Ruth knew exactly who showed up. I haven't spoken to my mother since the certified letter was delivered. I don't plan to. Some doors, once you close them with the right paperwork, don't need to be opened again. And every Sunday morning, when I transfer that rent deposit into my account, I think about a dying woman who held my hand and watched the news with me until she fell asleep. That's enough. That's more than enough.